What's up everyone? BHQ Pro Aaron Lesieur. I'm coming to you from my garage with this fishing report. I know it's a little bit different. Normally you see me out on the water, but I thought I'd mix it up a little bit. I've been out on the Delta 3 times in the last week since my last report. I was out there yesterday. So during this report, I'm gonna give you the conditions for the last week, what's going on out there, show you some fish catches that I caught on video, and kind of tell you how I've been catching 15 to 17 pounds out there on my last few trips. Not a whole lot has changed out there. We've had those triple-digit crazy hot weather out here for the last week. That's changed a little bit. Yesterday, the temperatures were in the low 90s, which was much more manageable and pleasant to be out on the Delta. The breeze has come back. The water temps out there are still about the same. Early morning, it's about 71 and 72, you know, early or low 70s in the morning on the water temps, and they're still creeping up to about 80 throughout the afternoon. Water clarity, depending on where you're fishing, still anywhere from 1 to 2 feet, all the way up to about 6 feet, depending on what part of the Delta you like to fish. When I'm out there in the mornings, the first couple hours, I'm throwing the Damiki Noisy MTB buzzbait. This one happens to be in a bluegill pattern, and I've actually modified this one a little bit. This one, the Noisy MTB comes with a ball knocker on the front of it to give it extra noise, but I've taken that off to make it a little more subtle. The cool thing about this bait is that you can either leave it on or take it off. It's real easy to take it off with pliers. I can put it back on if I wanted to make it a noisy version again. Stay tuned for a full-length featured video doing a review and showing you some fish catches on this bait. And now I throw this on the Dobbins. It's a 703C 20-pound braid. When I'm out there on the Delta, I'm targeting rip-rap banks that have wind or current blowing on them. And also the islands with the same. It's gonna have to have the current on it with some wind blowing on it, and it can be the center of the island, it can be on the tip. So it doesn't really matter, but as long as I have that wind or that current on that bank or on that island, I'm throwing it in the tule pockets or in right on the edge of the weed line. It doesn't matter, I'm just covering a lot of water with this bait throughout the morning, and I'm getting a lot of bites. The other bait I'm throwing in the morning, and I'm also throwing it in the afternoon, is the River to Sea. It's the Whopper Plopper 130. This happens to be the Piz Customs bone version, and I throw it on the Dobbins 735C on 20-pound braid. And on the Whopper Plopper, I'm targeting the exact same areas that I was targeting with the buzzbait, but the only difference is in the afternoon when I'm throwing this, I'm targeting submerged islands, and I notice the openings on those islands where the current's either moving in or out. It doesn't matter, as long as that water's moving across that opening, I'm throwing the Whopper Plopper in it. And I'm also catching a lot of good fish on this throughout the day. I'm doing out there is I'm punching, and on my punch rig it consists of a bobber stop, a 1.5 ounce tungsten weight by River to Sea, a punch skirt, and a Gamakatsu No. 5 heavy cover hook, and I'm throwing the Damiki Knockout on here as my bait. It's all in a bluegill pattern. The Damiki Knockout, I take the appendages off the side and I throw a little chartreuse on the pinchers, and when this bait falls through the mat, it's got a really good fluttering action, mimics a bluegill very, very well. And I'm targeting mats, any vegetation that's matted up, and it's got to be in the current. It doesn't have to be heavy current, there just has to be some current rolling through it, and I'm looking for some of those bigger fish to be staged up underneath there to wait for the food to come to them. So those are just a few of the techniques and baits that I'm using on the Delta right now. Like I said, I'm catching 15 to 17 pounds every time I go out. I've yet to run into some of those bigger fish. I know there's some other techniques out there that are working that I've heard other guys talking about. Some guys, you know, they're cranking on island points using a medium diving crankbait in red, and that seems to be catching some pretty good fish out there too. The temperatures are going to stay in the mid to higher 90s all week, so it's much more enjoyable out there. So if you get a chance to get out to the Delta in the next couple of weeks, give some of these techniques and baits a try. Hopefully you'll be able to catch some good fish and a good bag out there and have a lot of fun. So until next time, stay focused, fish hard, and I'll see you out on the water.